TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Now, special Christmas.
I told you we should have not have seen it.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
And for all these reasons, I've decided to scalp you and burn your village to the ground.
Now, I have to kill all of you.
Welcome to the Fogg Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
And a Happy New Year. Hey, you're not listening to a repeat of the last episode. I just fucking love how he says, and a Happy New Year, like an asshole.
Yeah.
So this is episode 91 of the Frog Brothers podcast.
91.
91.
We're getting up there. We probably don't have sex anymore.
Probably not.
But if I'm 91 and... I'm sorry, this is just where my brain went. Like, oh shit, one day I'm not going to be able to have sex anymore. But maybe technology will prove me wrong. If I'm 91... If I make it to 91 through some medical technology and they can make it so I can still fuck, then I'll be pretty happy.
Well, I guess that's how you conquer your existential crisis is fucking into your 90s.
Yeah. I think, well, you know, there's a lot of pills now. You could probably still get a boner.
Oh, yeah.
And there's lube, so you could still get a wetty.
Yeah, there's ways to make things
I think
work
you
like
probably
that.
you could probably still, if you wanted to bad enough, if you're 91 and you're wanted to.
Hey, if you're
bad
91 and you're listening to this show, would you let us know if you're still getting it on? Or more importantly, if you listen to this show and you know people that are 91, be that awkward person, ask them, what sex is like after 90.
Yeah, we need, like, if somebody over 90 needs to write a book on sex. Maybe that's already happened. I need to read that.
Maybe you need to Google that. Hey, someone Google that for us.
He
Sex
licked.
over 90. I don't want to see the videos of that.
He licked my flaps and my folds. My liver spots made him hard. Only for a moment, though, and then they got limp again.
Well, I mean, I think as a man, you're supposed to have erections constantly through your sleep, so I don't know if that stops as you're old or not. So, it's like part of your sleep cycle, your REM cycle. It's very scientific. If you're still listening, welcome to the show. And my name's Justin. That's my brother, Alec.
Yeah.
And, we get off topic. We get a little weird. We have no problems with that. That's how we are. That's how we survive so long.
We're going to go on.
We're going to survive.
We're going to survive. Sorry, Independence Day.
Yeah, if you don't know it,
Just came
go
to me.
watch it. So we got some big stuff coming up. Matrix is out, and I haven't seen that yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to hit that theaters for that one or not. I tried rewatching the first Matrix the other day, man. It's free, to stream, and just
not a fan.
Just really, I couldn't get through the whole movie. It just was, I need to go back and sit down and focus on it 100% because I remember liking it a lot more than it was, but it's just some interesting stuff there. So,
yeah,
but that's gotten mixed reviews. Then the Book of Boba Fett's getting ready to come out, which is pretty fucking awesome.
That's going to be pretty good, I think.
And then Ghostbusters Afterlife drops on digital on January 4th, which is about a week earlier than it was originally announced. But that's a whole other topic besides the fact that the 4K gift set went from like $85 or $90 most places for pre-sale to $150 this week in the past few days. Still, if you don't have Making Ghostbusters, the set, you probably want to get this for that reason. Oh, and everyone lost their fucking minds on Twitter today because they're going to have a digital copy of 2016 included. And so there's, we got a whole segment on that.
Where's the Tylenol?
But that set's pretty awesome looking. There's a cut of Ghostbusters that's like an early cut that's an extended version with some...
Supposedly there's a TV version, too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in there that's never been released, so it's basically essential purchasing if you're a Ghostbusters fan.
I don't even have a 4K player.
Neither do I, but I'm going to have to get one. I'm thinking maybe that's what I'll get for my birthday this year.
Yeah.
So, got a 4K TV. but I usually just stream from my 4K Roku.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not a lot else in the news, man, with everything going on for Christmas and all that nonsense. I mean, if you're out there looking for ornaments and other cool shit, 50% off. I've seen people finding stuff. But beyond that, I haven't really had the desire to go shopping for anything. Did you get any good Ghostbusters stuff for Christmas? Not that we really celebrate Christmas. It's more like we just celebrate... I celebrate gift giving mostly because it helps with sad.
I celebrate the winter solstice.
Yeah, the winter solstice. You give gifts because I hate fucking seasonal depression. And giving things and getting things is a nice way to feel better when life utterly sucks because we're at that shit time of year.
Yeah.
I got...
While other people are opening their presents, some people are opening their wrists. Gremlins.
Uh-huh. I think we said that last week, too. It's like a repeat. Or like a rerun. How can you be
What's
that
a rerun?
Yeah. I'm glad we both went there. I got a badass Ghostbusters Middle of Beyond shirt. Since I'm a dad and I play the role of Santa Claus, I gifted myself from Santa some Ghostbusters sleep pants. Had to give myself something besides just fucking candy, vegan candy.
I gave myself a stranger in the tub last night for Christmas.
I mean, you don't have to do that for Christmas. You could do that all year.
It was a special treat.
Nice. What else did I get, Ghostbusters-wise? Got a Ghostbusters shirt from my mom. That was pretty cool. Then I got another, some of that AMC merch. It says it was delivered, but wasn't delivered, so had to go for round 2 on that. I don't know if it was porch thieves or just lost in the mail limbo. So you never know.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
That Ghostbusters 2 book said it was delivered. And then it showed up 2 months later.
Yeah.
So I had given up hope. I had claimed on the eBay account and shit, and I didn't get my money back. And it said, like, the person responded after I claimed all that and shit, and they finally responded, and I should say, because they never responded before. And we're like, oh yeah, this was my grandma's eBay account, and she just died. And I was like, pfft.
Yeah, whatever. So we also had another gift box where, like, stuff came from Liz's family to us, and that just arrived today, even though it should have been here, like, well before Christmas. So I don't think it didn't magically arrive until they looked into it and, like, requested an update on their tracking number, so... Who knows? Hopefully no one else lost a bunch of shit in the mail. You know how that goes this time of year.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised when I got my Ghostbusters Stay Puft skateboard in yesterday, because I didn't have an update at all for a while, and then it was like, oh, out for delivery. Oh, no shit. So there's that, which is pretty nice. If you got anything cool, drop it in the comments below. Let us know what it was.
If you're on YouTube. Wink.
Yeah.
You should be on YouTube if you're not also sometimes.
And if you're not on the YouTube, jump into the Frog Bros video store on Facebook and tell us what you got. Show pictures of it. Remember, it's on Facebook, so you can't show pictures of your butthole if you got that plowed for Christmas or whatever else.
You can in private groups, but don't.
Yeah, I was going to say no. Alec has an OnlyFans for that, so DM him on there.
I've seen some wacky shit on some of the groups I'm in. Remember, I was in those P groups.
Oh, God, I forgot. I forgot your infiltration of that.
Yeah, go look for that.
You're like Scarlett Johansson in Iron Man 2. You infiltrated.
Basically. So, I guess we should jump into some Six Ed World.
Yeah.
The thing is, earlier, I thought we were going to naturally segue into it when you brought it up. And then we didn't.
I got off topic. But now we got to go back to it.
So,
no surprises.
I mean, are all your friends Satanists?
A young
They are.
Frenchman photographed this flying saucer, or is it? From a
Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography?
We're discussing Satanism and the occult this morning and some of the dangers.
Telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis.
For the purposes of this study, we will focus on the number 666.
Tonight on Six Ed World.
tonight on Six Ed World. A few days ago, Paul Feig made a Twitter post after this Ultimate Ghostbusters box set was announced. He tagged Sony and was just like, hey, a lot of people like that Ghostbusters movie I made, and and people worked really hard on it. You should have included it in the set.
And they're like, it even includes Bill, Ernie, and Dan, so...
Yeah, and people lost their shit. And then, this morning, or yesterday night, I don't know when he posted this, but pretty recently, in the last 24 hours, I'd say, posted another tweet that was like, nice, I admire your passion, answer the call, haters. You spent the entire holiday weekend and shit talking shit on my Twitter. Thanks for that. I hope you have a great holiday, whatever. Yeah. Happy New Year, some shit. Sincerely.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking class act. We posted a couple of our pictures that we got with him at Ghostbusters Fan Fest. We didn't pay for these pictures, mind you. They're not professional. They're selfies.
Because he took the time to chat with us when we shouted out to him. That's all it was. Yeah. He didn't have to. He did.
His handler was walking him through the thing, and I was just like, you can tell by that man's suits who that is walking. And, we were just kind of very aware of things at the time. We were walking around the Sony lot, fucking A, understand that. I'm sure a lot of you listening were also probably there.
And so one other thing I have to add on to this, because a lot of ignorant people that don't have money to do anything cool in life and that besides just be shitty people on the internet are still go back and reference Dan Aykroyd's article about, well, he won't be allowed on the Sony lot anytime soon. Well, guess what? When we met him on the Sony lot was after Dan Aykroyd made those comments, and that was mostly Dan being butthurt that Amy Pascal and Sony Pictures greenlit a Ghostbusters movie that he didn't write.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's basically it. I get it. That's your baby.
But to be honest, he has nothing but bad ideas recently about this shit
Ghostbusters
anyway.
in high school. You're like, no, Uncle Dan needs to lay off the fucking crystal head.
Yeah. So, here's an interesting comment. This one's not a hateful comment. It's just someone saying something that happened. I think they're a online movie reviewer. It says, I wrote a negative review of Ghostbusters Afterlife, where I called Answer the Call unfairly maligned. This prompted a fan to call me at home on a Sunday, swear at me, demand I apologize, and threaten to dox me and ruin my family's Christmas. I'm done admiring their passion.
Wow. That's fucked up.
That's the kind of people that are on that side of this fence. And it's the same with any internet drama that happens. There are certain people that do that kind of shit, and they're always on this bad take, this weird, hateful, the shit.
The internet has just allowed people to hide behind it for so long and do and say whatever they want that they couldn't fucking talk like that to their boss or their spouse or whatever else without being a complete psychopath. And people are just okay with it. Yeah. That's the thing that blows my mind. Everyone's just like, what? You're like, no, you're fucking nuts. You need severe fucking professional help. I'm surprised anyone in your fucking family likes you or talks to you. I bet your children hate you. Your fucking coworkers despise you because you're trash.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, man, the amount of energy people put into hate on this stuff. Wow. Exactly. I got one, I don't even know who it was. I saw in a random Ghostbusters group, but everyone that hasn't been in a Ghostbusters group in the past, 20 years, or hasn't ever talked to anybody is now in every fucking Ghostbusters group on Facebook, which I get it, right? New movie, a lot of hype.
We got to welcome new fans. We're not gatekeeping this.
No, I expect plenty of people to join in, right? They're reminiscent of it. They've seen it. They're passionate about it again. Perfect.
It's not the lack of knowledge.
It's until you go back and then you're like, that 2016 was trifling shit or whatever else. And then the one I saw was somebody has a Canadian exclusive 7-Eleven Ghostbusters 64-ounce thermos mug, took the time to write up a long hateful speech about Paul Feig and posted on there, but he has a picture that he took of a sheet of notebook paper and said Paul Feig's salty tears, and he's drinking out of it, and he's got more than one posed picture in front of his Christmas tree, and he's deciding to spend his holidays doing this. This makes you feel good in your life because there's nothing positive about your life at all when you spend the time to do that. The only way I can make that positive And I don't even want to go after anybody because it wouldn't even be funny. What would be to take that and say Paul Feig's salty semen and have him drinking that out of a mug because
you should we should change that for him.
I mean, I can. We should.
Let's do it.
But I don't want to be derogatory to other people that don't deserve that. If they're into that sort of thing, I mean, there's probably
it's not derogatory if you know that he's going to be offended by it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I do that shit all the time.
Yeah.
That's the way you get to people, motherfucker. That's a real troll. We like to troll.
Yeah.
We do a little trolling. You know what that guy sounds like? He sounds like
a child.
No, because children have compassion. Adults don't. Children are compassionate towards one another when they get hurt, when they have fun. And granted, kids can be bullies and all that bullshit. I get that, right? But kids are not inherently assholes until they see that behavior exhibited by their parents. So what scares me about this is all these fucking nut jobs on here, like they're showing their children, this is how you treat other people.
Mm-hmm. Well,
what else you got? You got some comments.
Yes, I got a lot here. One of the first things I screenshotted was, Ghostbusters News posted the news about this, and some of the comments were very entertaining. They posted the news that Answer the Call is going to be included in the set as a digital download. And this guy says, well, I was going to buy it. No, wait, sorry. He has much worse grammar than that. Well, I was going to buy, but not anymore. I'll just buy the new ones separately. And I just commented the gif of Cartman saying, oh, yes, let me taste your tears, when he's drinking the guy's tears after he kills his parents. You're not even listening to me. This is a one-sided conversation.
Well, keep going.
There's been comparisons about, like, oh, well, it's like including the holiday special from Star Wars. No. If anything... wait, what?
That has nothing to do with it. And by the way, they did include episodes of the real Ghostbusters on Ghostbusters 2 DVD instead of any other special features because they were lazy. So, calm down.
Yeah. I don't remember what my original... Oh, yes. This is on Paul Feig's original post. I had commented something about people have some unhealthy obsession with disliking Answer the Call. Like,
yes.
And then this guy commented, he added me. Just accept that a lot of people don't like the film, just like other bad movie. It's unhealthy that you keep getting upset by it. I said, tell your therapist, not us. If I don't like a movie, I don't harass the director. I move on with my life.
Yeah, no kidding.
Facebook was really blowing up, too, in the groups, and I was trying not to engage too much, but I was poking a couple bears just to see what people were going to respond with.
You got to test the waters a little bit, just because, there's so much absurdity.
I pointed out that I liked Answer the Call because someone was like, nobody likes that movie. And I was like, I like that movie. And they're like, well, you're allowed to like crappy movies. And by, like, she pointed, the your she used was Y-O-U-R.
Yes.
Now, it just goes to show the level of intelligence we're dealing with here.
If you're going to come at me, I'm going to, just remember, if you're going to come at me, I'm going to criticize your ability to use the English language and then, like...
Or if you start a sentence with the word but.
And if I go look at your profile and you look fucking poor, ignorant, or stupid...
An ellipses.
I'm going to just
They have
assume
3 periods, not 4.
Yes, and they don't even know what that means. Most people use that incorrectly. They have no idea.
Well, she uses ellipses twice here. And there's no space after it. And there's 4 dots, not 3. So that's interesting. She did choose to use a period at the end of the thing.
Can I say something fucked up and hateful here? Because I saw this. I saw someone responding to Alec on this earlier on Facebook, and I went and looked at it. And every time I read these kind of like ignorant fucking comments from people that don't know how to fucking type,
Fuck it.
I just think, how the fuck are there people that don't believe in a woman's choice? Because my God, this should have been an abortion.
Yeah.
There's so many fucking ignorant, stupid, hate-filled people out there. You're just
Some
like,
of
what
what
is
you are
wrong
about to
with you?
see and hear is explicit.
Yes. And like, nothing can explain it. Like, who allowed you on the internet? You could fucking barely type your name, let alone your fucking first and last name to get on Facebook. Like, who helped you?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Then they commented back to me after I said, tell your therapist, not us and stuff. What the fuck are you on about? I'm not in therapy. I'm not harassing anyone. You're the one getting upset. And I just responded with the gif of Venkman saying, will you hose him, please?
Yes.
Oh, here's a good one. This one... I'm sorry, it's really funny. Don't reboot classics with an obvious political agenda and then accuse people of sexism for not liking the disrespect. Afterlife stars a female ... child ... who some say is on the spectrum, and that's in quotes, and respects the original. If you wanted it in the box set, maybe respect the originals. So I'm just going to break this down for you real quick. Don't reboot classics with an obvious political agenda and then accuse people of sexism for not liking the disrespect. First of all, anybody who felt like Paul Feig was calling them a sexist
probably is a sexist.
Yes.
Because that movie
Here's the thing. He was calling out the sexists. And if you identified as one of those people being called out by it,
yes,
then you're a sexist.
If you felt personally attacked by the term sexist, you might be a sexist.
Right? If you use the word feminism in a negative way, you might be a sexist.
Exactly.
By definition. Because feminism, by definition, is the belief that people basically are equal. So, that's also in the Constitution for all you Americans out there. All men are created equal.
And then,
that's just the first sentence.
Oh, okay.
Afterlife stars a female, ... All right. Any guy who currently in 2021...
calls someone a female?
Yes. Just using that word, that's like a... There's certain ways you can use it in the right context, for sure. It's just a word.
Yeah.
And, I'm not here to debate that. But the way this guy's using it, you can tell that he thinks less of women in general.
Yes.
Like, that's just the way that is.
Because someone that actually respects
be like, nah, man.
Would be
female.
like McKenna Grace.
Like, this weird...
McKenna Grace, who is a child actress, or a child actor, right, stars as Phoebe.
Yeah.
And instead, they're making it a female child. Like, I don't care what you're fucking into. Like, get your white van away from the grade school, you jackass.
So he points out, Afterlife stars a female child who some say is on the spectrum. And I commented, you're complaining about the political agenda in the first movie by saying that the new movie also has basically the same political agenda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it has women. And one of the actors is non-binary. And there's an interracial relationship in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like fucking Wokebusters to me.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this, though, here. And I don't know if it's just Ghostbusters groups, because I honestly don't spend time in Star Wars groups, because I've just heard of all the vitriol crazy shit going on in there, so I just never even dabbled in it. And Ghostbusters, for the most part, has been a pretty small community, right? So you know a lot of people by name or whatever, and you recognize folks, and I get that that's changed, right? New movie, I expect that to grow, but the fact that these people act like they watch this movie or these movies and love them, yet they still completely miss the point. You know why Ivo Shandor wanted to bring about an end to the world? Because after World War I, he thought society was too sick to survive. And all the shit I read that you morons are posting out there, and not you morons, I mean, if you're listening to us, obviously you're paying attention, but
you're part of the reason that Ivo Shandor wanted to destroy the world.
Yes.
And you're also why there's a huge fucking river of pink slime flowing under Manhattan.
Yes, the whole fact of the matter is that people were the bad guys in these movies, right? Essentially, right? Ivo Shandor started this because he thought society was too sick to survive. That concept you don't understand, because you are one of the sick people that Ivo Shandor would be like, man, fuck this guy, we got to get rid of him. Fuck that person. Fuck them, they're out of here. And you're the type of person that would be filling up that river of slime for sure. You'd be bathing in it. It'd be coming out of your shower head, because that's like your whole life. It would be coming out of your armpits. I mean, you'd be sweating slime because you're so sick in the head. You have no idea.
This guy, his name is Nick Nugent on Twitter. If you know anything about Ted Nugent, so you know this guy is already politically retarded.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. So,
and I'm sorry if you are also retarded in that you have to be compared to someone that is not only retarded but also has poor politics.
I was trying to slide past the fact that I said the word retarded, and now you said it a billion times. So, guess we're gonna have to point that out.
Well, we already talked about it.
Yeah, probably a poor choice of words there, but hey, at least we can admit a mistake and realize that that probably shouldn't be in our vocabulary anymore.
If I polled a lot,
I grew up in the '90s, and it kind of ingrained in there because society was more fucked up in the '90s than it is now.
And I bet if I asked a lot of these people, like, I would love to start reading these tweets and hateful messages to people's parents and grandparents, because I bet a lot of them would regret them too.
So anyway, his comment was, this was to Paul's big post or whatever. A better idea. Give the people what they want and don't tell them what they need. Hashtag Paul Feig whined for this, and he only did it for money, not because his movie was left out. He wanted to try to erase the original hashtag Ghostbusters legacy. He does not deserve to gain from it. And then someone commented, are you campaigning to have Ghostbusters 2 and Afterlife removed too? After all, they were done for money. Ghostbusters 2 doesn't have the original's passion, and Afterlife erases the legacy of the original by retconning Egon into an absentee dad since pre-84. Let it go.
Yeah, well stated.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of people out there that get it too, right? But obviously with everything you get on the internet, the hate and vitriol is basically what boils to the top.
Hold on.
The loudest crowd.
I got a lot of these to get through. If you want to move through it, we need to read them and not go on a diatribe. Because believe me,
all right,
we could do this for hours here. Hold on. Let's see. So in other words, the reboot's director went off on one without all the facts and started throwing blame around. Ellipses with 4 dots. Exactly like he did when his film came out the first time, shooting the odds at Falk blaming its failings on anyone but himself. People can't type, man. I honestly assumed it would be a digital copy added anyway. Glad it's been confirmed. Intelligent humans.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not physical, I could care less. But careless is one word, like I could care less.
Yeah, you're careless? No, you care less, yes.
What are you, shopping at Payless? I don't want it messing up the look of the actual trilogy in the box. And someone had commented, I was going to buy it, not anymore. Flip off emoji. And I said, good. I can feel your anger growing. And then, let's see, where's his comment back? Because he didn't comment back for a while. Oh, he said, fuck you, SJW trash. And I said, yes, let it consume you. And he responded, it already has, you little cocksucker, because I have to live on a planet filled with the stupidest pieces of shit in the universe like you. And I said, well, maybe you should talk to a therapist about that. And that was the end of that. Now, where's that original? There's a certain thread I'm looking for that's like pretty much the pinnacle of hilarity. I think it was that Nick Nugent guy that I started responding to.
Yeah, find it here.
Let's see.
Some of these people, man, like...
Oh, here it is. Here's the beginning. Someone said, I'm out. I won't support Sony bending the knee to the woke. And I said, I mean, Sony made the movie, so Sony is woke. And then that's when that Ted Nugent fucking skeet-tail commented back to me.
You gotta find it here? Can't find it.
God damn it. Yeah, because... Wait. Here it is, I think. Well, fucking A. There's so much shit in here. I only got part of it, I think. But either way. He basically said that... He commented back, yeah, but he never said Sony was woke. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
did you not... What is your takeaway from my comment? What? And then he said... and then I basically said, you're making some weird argument. I don't understand this. I don't have the comment here. I said, exactly. And then he responded, yeah, sure, except you implied it. Oh, I said that woke. He's just using woke as a derogatory term for progressive, which is what Hollywood is.
Yes.
Sorry, buddy.
Yes.
I was like, that's why people, and I said, that's why people like Gina Carano and John Voight don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And then he said, yeah, sure, except you implied it. By progressive, do you mean like failing miserably to earn your production budget back? Making movies people forget about or still hate 5 years later? Because I'm pretty sure Sony isn't playing that game with hashtag Spider-Man No Way Home. And I said, I didn't imply shit. Ignorance and confidence don't mix well, my guy. He said Sony bowed to woke people. I pointed out that Sony made the fucking movie, so they are woke, as he said. And then he said, yeah, but you did. You pointed out by his view Sony was already woke, but in your view, progressive. And then took a bizarre shot at Gina Carano, whom is starring in a Western movie, by the way, unlike your boy hashtag Alec Baldwin, who just ended one. See how that works? Try harder. Like, what is this guy even... I don't even understand. I can't argue with something that stupid. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And it just makes me laugh at the end of the day.
Okay, so what all these people, what none of these fucking morons can figure out, and I call them morons because they're obviously fucking uneducated or cannot fucking... They're so fucking terrible at being a human and existing and treating other people with dignity and respect that they've got their blinders on here, that the only thing that matters is them. So they can't see that Sony Pictures is a giant corporation, a subsidiary of Sony. Okay, so they're a for-profit business in a capitalist society in the United States, right? Like many societies are very capitalistic in nature. So their job is to make money. Okay, so if you don't like Paul Feig, whatever, I don't know why you want to spend the time to hate on him as a person. That's your own fucking lack of getting help and getting anyone in your life to help you ever become a better person than you are today. Like if you have no drive to become better, all you're doing is reiterating the fact that you
suck.
Basically. But ultimately, Ghostbusters Afterlife was made to do what? Make money.
Cha-ching.
Because Ghostbusters is a tentpole franchise? Kind of. Kind of. I say kind of because, yeah, it was going to be another big summer release. Obviously, everything else happened. But this movie still didn't pull in Spider-Man money. So everyone trying to say that Afterlife was the best thing to ever happen to Ghostbusters is out of their mind. Ghostbusters itself is the, quote, magic in a bottle that everyone always wants to say. Ghostbusters 2 is a retelling with the things changed enough, though, that you don't really notice.
Especially as a child.
Yeah, as a kid, you're watching it, it's a blast.
If you are somehow, you can objectively watch Ghostbusters 2 as an adult, like I have, you could realize the flaws.
Yes. And you know why it took Ghostbusters so long to make another movie before I answer the call? Because of the rights deals. The creators weren't fucking idiots. So they had things change when they did Ghostbusters 2.
And Bill Murray was like, after Ghostbusters 2, fuck off. I ain't doing another Ghostbusters movie.
So what you fail to realize is everybody wants to put all the blame on Paul Feig on this. Sony Pictures was there. Amy Pascal was in charge at the time.
Really, it doesn't even matter the blame, too. It's like it's like this thing of just let it go and move on with yourself.
But they're all failing to realize that this is a for-profit business. They're trying to relaunch the franchise because no one else wanted to tackle the old characters because no one had anything worthwhile after Harold Ramis died. They could have just let the franchise die. Yet they still know what they had. They had the most recognizable logo in the world.
Here's the thing. They still complain about, you should have connected the universe. Really? Would you be happier if it was the same movie and it would connect to the universe? Don't you think that would make it worse? Don't you think you'd be more upset? Don't you think that would ruin it more, as you say? Instead of keeping it separate in its own thing, now you still have everything preserved and you got an actual sequel. Now you have 4 Ghostbusters movies instead of 2 and 1 that would have been potentially worse had it not been a reboot. You know what I mean? There's no way to know. What if Paul Feig had done a Ghostbusters 3 instead of Ghostbusters Answer the Call? You think you would have liked that?
And let's not forget to mention, Ghostbusters 3 in the 90s would have been a hot CGI garbage fire.
Yeah.
It would not have been great.
It would have been evolution.
Which has a little bit of its own merit, but still just couldn't live up to Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters of the 90s was called Men in Black.
Pretty much.
So that's
Holds
your
up.
real Ghostbusters 3. if you want to be honest about it. I mean, basically. Same kind of concept, same abstract weapons, technology, all this fun stuff, right? It's funny. It's a combination. Mm-hmm. That's the closest thing that's ever hit the similar style of magic of the original Ghostbusters in that genre of movie that defies movie genres.
Yeah.
But that's the sick, sad world, because it just blows my mind how so many people like let that amount of hate dictate and fill their entire life and fail to see the irony of everything going on in the Ghostbusters movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. They're basically all the fucking judge from Ghostbusters 2. That's how belligerent they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then
they're going to connect these multiverses.
Oh, yeah. Wait
and
till...
then they're going to go, I'm saying the order! Case dismissed!
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry. A little explosive there.
No, that's exactly. Wait till that happens, because that's still a possibility, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone's trying to talk about the box office of it, first of all, unless you're a Sony shareholder, why the fuck do you care?
Box office numbers literally mean nothing in terms of if a movie's good, necessarily. It means it was marketed well and people wanted to go see it. Now, here's the thing. If a movie does well in a box office, then they are going to want to move forward with more movies. But it could be a terrible fucking movie and they will still do this. That doesn't matter to them as long as it made enough money.
End of the day,
if it's something is the best movie ever, but it doesn't make money, probably not getting a sequel.
Probably not.
The money is not what gives something value in terms of that. It is literally the money in regards to the business. That's it. If it's going to go forward, not if it was done well or, things like that.
And you can blame whoever you want, but there's plenty of producers.
Capitalism. I blame capitalism, but...
Yeah, exactly, because the only reason this stuff's made to be a controversy is because of the amount of money it made or whatever else, right? Yeah. ATC didn't live up to the box office standard, but the marketing was bizarre for that. The
had a
trailer
bloated
came out
budget,
too
man,
late.
too.
Yeah, and the budget was too big for the style of movie they're trying to tell. And there's many things to it, but you have to look at it from a business perspective, right? You can break down the movie script and all that, but you can't place the blame all on one person. The blame goes to basically so many areas, and that's only if you want to spend the time to do that. Like, who cares? If you don't like it, pretend it doesn't exist. Don't buy anything that has it in it. And if that includes the 4K box set with a reprint of Making Ghostbusters and all the new cool content...
Well, it also includes the Ecto Cooler from 2016 that all these fucking nut jobs all own.
Oh, yeah. They all have the Ecto Cooler, don't they?
Yeah, you sure enjoyed that Ecto Cooler in 2016.
And they bought a shitload of those themed Twinkies, the Key Lime Slimer Twinkies and the Stay Puft
I'm sure
Twinkies.
they bought all the re-releases of the Hot Wheels Ghostbusters toys and the Mattel action figures that were in Walmart at the time. I'm sure they bought all of these things. I'm sure they bought all the Ghostbusters, yeah, like you said, the Twinkies, everything that was merchandised.
Yeah.
Because of the movie, though. I
But
mean, like...
they don't want that movie to exist, but they still want the products they got from it.
Yeah.
You don't think of the whole picture. You're only seeing part of it. It's like reading the last page of a book. You have no idea how you fucking got there, so you think you're going to base your entire assessment off this by reading the last page of the book. That's how I feel these people are about Answer the Call. They only read the last page. They have no idea about the rest of it, so they're trying to write a book report on the last page of a book. All right, let's have some fun now.
How far are we in? I wanted to know how long we ranted for. We're about 40 minutes in.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, that was our therapy session, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you agree. But if not, you know what? You're allowed to disagree, and that's the beautiful thing about it. But I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to dox your family because you don't like our take on this.
I might. No, I'm just kidding.
Alec might just send you butthole pictures, so don't be worried about that.
No, that's a little too far as well. All I'll do is laugh, react to anything you post, and tell you to go see a therapist because, you probably need one. Everyone needs one.
The last thing I'll say on that to close it out is Hank Braxton, who made, obviously, the Freddy vs. the Ghostbusters films, some good Ghostbusters fan films. Just delete that comment you were typing. You're not fixing these people. And holy shit, that struck a chord. Don't even respond to them. You can laugh, react them because it's not even worth your time. You're not going to change people. The problem with internet culture is internet culture teaches you to find people that have the exact same opinion.
He could be making that comment and referring to the other side though too because he hates Answer the Call.
Exactly, but it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that someone out there figures out that we're not changing people's minds. You change people's minds by having intelligent conversation in person.
Well,
Attacking people on
I've
the
had
internet.
some decent interactions with some of these people. There was one guy we agreed. We came down to agreeance that what we should all be pissed about is the fact that Extreme Ghostbusters has no release. Like,
Yeah.
let's fucking get on Sony's ass for that.
Yeah.
That's a travesty. If what we should be doing is saying, Sony, it's 2022 almost. What we need is a Blu-ray box set with everything from the real Ghostbusters to Extreme, including
Yes.
Slimer in there.
Yeah, that
Give me
should
that.
be a thing, right?
Fucking give it to me now. Don't care how. I want it now.
All right. So, we're still doing our Christmas holiday themes.
We're doing some Marvel.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so obviously there's some big stuff in there. Hawkeye takes place over the holidays, so we're inspired though by the year of 2021 and all the Marvel releases. Lots of Marvel stuff.
9 Marvel TV shows and movies.
9 times.
9 times?
So we're gonna rank these.
I don't remember Marvel releasing something 9 times.
Yeah,
that's probably because
they haven't released something 9 times.
All
right. So there's 9 items released by Marvel this year. We're gonna rank them. Let's start at number 9.
Well, all right. Number 9 for
Eternals.
me is going to be the Eternals because I didn't see it because I didn't have any desire to. I probably will just because it's a Marvel Universe movie, so I'll have to sit down at some point and watch it. I mean, I was forced to watch the new Suicide Squad movie, so I'm going to have to watch this.
I'll see it, and the big reason I didn't hit it in theaters is because I didn't hear any hype about it. I've
heard it wasn't very good from comparatively to other Marvel stuff, so I don't know.
A lot of stuff just browsing around basically has this ranked as number 9 for people that actually watched it. So I just didn't have the drive to see this. Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's the trailers. I don't know. It could be better than I'm expecting.
So that's a note on our number 9 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 for me is What If. Some of the plots and stuff were really good, and some were like the first episode. I think that's the Peggy Carter one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good one. Some of them were better than others. Like even the zombie one, like had so much more potential, I think, to be better than it was. But I was just kind of bored throughout the episode. I was like, I don't know.
That's fair.
And the Doctor Strange one was good. That kind of ties into some things, so that makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
And then the whole plot that the show What If has the what's that interdimensional motherfucker?
The Watcher?
Is that the Watcher? Yeah, I was gonna say that's the Watcher then. Okay, yeah. The Watcher, is proved to be like an actual character and not just a framing device, basically, and things.
Mm-hmm.
It got really interesting, but either way, so my number 8.
All right. That's fair. I can see why. My number 8's WandaVision. And it's not that I hated WandaVision. It was just some of the pacing issues for me. Like, I enjoyed the series. There's some fun stuff in it. I'm excited to see where some of these characters go. But it just didn't live up to the hype that they'd made around it, right? They really fucking hyped that one so much, and it didn't feel like it lived up to that in my book. Now, I had fun watching it, but it's not like I was like, ooh, I got to rewatch that entire series right now.
Definitely ranks higher on my list, but I'll get to that.
All right. Well, what's your number 7?
Number 7 for me is Black Widow.
Okay.
Black Widow, I just kind of thought was pretty decent. I need to watch it again to get a full grasp and opinion on it. But as far as MCU movies go, just being post-Endgame and getting a slower action movie is hard to deal with in the Marvel Universe when you know everything else. But it's not impossible to do because other things on my list have done it and done it well without doing explosive, crazy shit. But maybe I just need to give it another watch. I really like the introduction of Yelena or whatever, and even the David Harbour's character in there was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bad. But, yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. My number 7 was the Loki series. There's some things that, again, it's kind of like similar to WandaVision for me. It was so hyped up. I enjoyed it a lot when we were watching it. I had fun with it, but I haven't felt the need to go rewatch it again. There was nothing in there that I was like, oh, I've got to see that again. There's some really fun moments and a couple of references and things like that were really cool. I love the variant concept. I love the other Lokis we got to see and interact with. Like, I thought that was a blast. I thought that was really cool to see all that, and that really level set you for No Way Home when you eventually, when we talk about that. But
yeah, my number 6 was Loki for pretty much the same reasons, but there were some things I really did like in it. Loki basically being like, yeah, I'm bisexual without saying it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Representation matters, especially in a world where these things are real, basically.
Yeah, and that's based off real folklore and other stuff. Like Loki and Thor have some like non-comic book traditional stuff, and that really makes a lot of sense. So.
And not just that, basically, though, the as they've dubbed her Lady Loki, or what was her name in the show? I forgot. She chose a different name, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, that was good stuff. Some of it was really interesting, like the was it fucking alligator or crocodile, Loki?
Alligator, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. There's some good stuff in there. There's the ecto cooler joke. That was funny.
Yeah, no, there's moments in there that I really love, but overall it was just a little inconsistent. But you're going to get that with the series too, though, which makes it a little difficult. So my number 6 was What If? I enjoyed that series a lot, and when I really think about the overall story arc with it, right, because it starts off kind of trying to fool you that these are all like one-off episodes, and then you start seeing little snippets of how it's tying together, and then you kind of see how the Watcher kind of ties into everything going on with Doctor Strange. I really love how that series ended because it's basically taking you right into the MCU, so it had a lot more weight than I was originally expecting from kind of like a one-off. Seemed like it'd be a one-off show just to kind of have some fun ideas like they've done in the comics.
Wasn't
right?
there some?
There's always comics that are like this, so that's fun.
That was where Thanos kept having genocide jokes because Disney.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, but I enjoyed that quite a bit, especially some of the episodes really stood out. So I really loved the T'Challa as Star-Lord. I thought that was a great one. The zombies one was a little underwhelming, but I did watch that one twice. The second viewing, I thought it was a lot better overall. Some of these are, because you're also watching the animation, and so you're a little bit distracted from certain elements there. And then obviously with Marvel, you've got a certain level of quality you're expecting. So to me, that felt a little off at times, but I still liked it.
That definitely was weaker to me, but yeah.
What's your number 5?
WandaVision.
All right.
Which to me was fucking basically for a minute there, the David Lynch of the Marvel universe, basically. It was crazy. I just remember I was super hyped because it was the first Marvel stuff we were getting in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it really did it for me long term. Now it's very slow going at the beginning, but it got very interesting, and it's a story about grief, so that's very interesting too. Like the character development is what took that from me, because you don't get any of that in like What If. It's just more of interesting. And like Black Widow, there's a little bit of development, I guess, but it's like Black Widow's character's finished with. You don't develop somebody in a movie like that. You don't need to anymore. They're developed, basically.
Yeah.
So WandaVision really had Wanda arc, and WandaVision to me made Age of Ultron better. So yeah,
it did do that, right? I love how Marvel has that ability to make other content even better by having some of this additional stuff.
Yeah, Marvel makes really good content.
My number 5 is Black Widow. I watched that once in theaters, and then I rewatched it the other day after watching Hawkeye, and that's why I put it there. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. The first time I saw it, I was like, well, we didn't need that movie at all. I was like, we really don't gain anything from that besides Yelena as a character. And like David Harbour's funny in that character, right? And the story's good, but I appreciate it a lot more now, showing like how the Black Widow got where she was and some of the other things as we're seeing the overall picture. And I had a lot of fun watching it the second time, mostly because I kind of knew what to expect. So I did enjoy that on the rewatch a lot more than I'd originally enjoyed it when I saw it the first time. So I got to give it props for that. So that's why I like that one.
Meh. I think it just could have been better. My number 4 is Shang Chi. I only watched it like the first time a couple days ago. It's on Disney Plus now, and I was like, I'll watch that. It surprised me. It just was different than what I was expecting, but very interesting. Like, it feels very close-knit to Black Panther to me. And not just because it's like a different culture cultural element. Like, it's good in that sense. It's almost as good as Black Panther to me. But I think I still like Black Panther more. But it's that's what I would compare it to.
Killmonger is such a compelling villain that it's really hard to put something right next to that, especially for just like a normal non-superhero or non-superpowered character. My number 4 is Falcon and Winter Soldier. So that was a fun series there. I like the Winter Soldier a lot more than the Falcon in that, though. And it's not that the Falcon's not great in that, but you kind of know where you're going with that at the beginning of that, right? And so I really kind of wish you'd seen a little bit more of Winter Soldier. There were some things in there I really enjoyed, though, like seeing the old super soldier that the U.S. had and like how he'd been in some of those story arcs.
I recently rewatched this series.
Yeah, and seeing some of
the first one I've rewatched out of all the Marvel series. So
yeah, so I like that a lot. It was fun. There's a lot of good things coming out of that. I'm excited to see where they go next.
We're in the top 3 now.
Mm-hmm. What's your number 3?
Hawkeye. That's
my number 3 too.
Hawkeye was pleasantly surprising, and I'm never one of those people who hated Hawkeye. I was just kind of like, yeah, Hawkeye's fine. They're doing great with him. They didn't need to give him his own movie. They built his backstory up from Thor to Avengers. He had enough interactions with Black Widow throughout the things. They balanced character development really well. And, in Age of Ultron, when you meet his family and stuff, they slowly progress some of this stuff into there.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time this series came out, and then they introduced Kate Bishop, which I fell in love with that character too. Like, That's a great fucking series. And there's lots of cool elements into it in pieces of other stuff. Like, obviously, Kingpin was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And that fight between him and Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, was fucking insane.
Yeah.
I really liked how at the beginning it showed her seeing Hawkeye during the original thing. I like when they do that. They connect and re-show that stuff. It works well.
Yeah, and they had that scene where she saw that, and like that's how she kind of fell in love with his
And then
character.
you have the stuff about LARPing. It's cool just to see like how those people would interact with these people in that kind of universe.
Yeah, like that was great, right? And like how they're looking up to each other, even though technically, by most standards, people that are in rescue and law enforcement, those types of things are like looked upon as, community heroes and those types, right? So that was an interesting. What I loved the most about it was how well Kate Bishop's character was introduced and how you got to see Clint go from the Ronin. I love that story.
And Kate Bishop's mom be fine.
But I love the Ronin bit in there too, because like in Endgame, you just see this fucking monster and you're like, whoa. Like, we really progressed. Like, we see that he lost the family, and then, this kind of explains a little bit more about the why, which doesn't always matter because the movie was great on its own. But it fills in some of those gaps and shows you that he's still. It's another story about him struggling with both guilt and grief still, and Yelena as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that was one of the best scenes at the end where like she's hired to kill him and wants to kill him for that, and then basically, that's the cliffhanger of Black Widow is that she's hired to kill him.
Yeah.
And we get to see her like have that emotional breakdown where he's like, no, like,
and then where you think like the first 4 episodes or like maybe 3, you think that the swordsman is the fucking villain.
Yeah.
Like, or at least a villain.
Yeah.
And then he's just revealed to be completely innocent, and he was framed by her mother.
Yeah.
Who was basically forced into work by Kingpin.
Yep.
It was very, very, very good.
Yeah, because
Didn't see where that was coming.
He comes across as very insincere, and then if you like re-look at his character, you're like, oh, well, no wonder he has like a natural curiosity and is kind of laughing at things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great series. What's your number 2?
The Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Ooh, okay. So you said you just rewatched that. That's the only one you've rewatched. So what about that made you put it there?
That was just the most enjoyable one to me. Like, first of all, I've always enjoyed a controversial opinion of mine being that I like the Captain America movies better than the Iron Man movies and the character, at least in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I just always enjoyed Steve Rogers more. And so I was just more interested in the continuation of his story through other people who were introduced in his movies and stuff. And I like both of their stories in this, but like Anthony Mackie's is just fucking great to me because he's struggling with like yeah, I'm not paid to be an Avenger. I'm broke as fuck still.
Yeah.
But I fucking save the world still.
Yeah.
And still do what's right because I can. But I'm still a broke motherfucker.
Yeah, like he's dealing with the family business, those elements there.
And he's also dealing with like the pressure of, yeah, you don't understand why I handed that shield back to them because I wasn't about to deal with that bullshit. And then by the end, he's like, no, I'm ready to deal with that bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's a character arc that's so well done. You know, you really got to understand.
And the
why.
introducing of Isaiah, you know, the older black guy that they fucking screwed over and put in jail and shit. And, yeah, the Winter Soldier, you know, Bucky goes through his thing and they become friends in this one, like actual friends.
Yeah, because before they just kind of had casual interactions that just happened to be like,
well, we're hanging out all the time because we're both friends of Captain America's. And
yeah, but they're different friends, right? They're like those friend groups that like don't ever hang out outside of that person.
Not to mention the introduction of Walker, and his arc was very interesting too because you're like
U.S. agent, yeah, and like
the way they did it. At some points, you're feeling bad for him, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
At first, yeah, you hated him, but by the end of it, you're like, "Man, this guy's just been manipulated so much. Like he's just, and his sense of right and wrong is like."
And you have all these characters now, lots of new people in all of these shows being introduced into the Marvel Universe that can pop up anywhere they feel.
Mm-hmm. I would say U.S. Agent.
He's going to be part of the fucking...
his character, though, really
Thunderbolts.
His character kind of really reminded me of the Punisher-style character. Like, his idea of what's right and wrong, if it's fucking off from societal norms, he is convicted and compassionate about it. And so, like, to see him kind of change and see his ruthlessness, I think is something we haven't seen. And I see a lot of potential for where his character can go in the future.
Yeah.
Right? And not even necessarily be like a villain, but just kind of be that anti-hero that kind of flows in and out with people just based on the desperate situations they may end up in.
And that ended up being the first time we saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character instead of Black Widow.
Yeah, which was supposed to be the other way around, but
yeah, but either way.
And then for me, my number 2 is Shang Chi. I really loved that when I saw it in theaters. It's really well done. It was really refreshing.
Well, it's what I love about these kind of movies. Not to just interrupt you, but I'm going to. Is that it's just like same with Guardians of the Galaxy. They introduced me to characters that I didn't know who they were in comic form, even. I didn't give a fuck about them at all, and it still made me want to watch it. Which, as opposed to DC being like, hey, look, we're putting Batman in this movie, and I'm like, I don't want to watch it, though, even still, because you're doing it so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm a Shang-Chi fan now, so.
Well, there's, I love how they brought the actor that was portraying,
well, they have Wong is in there.
Yeah, Wong has that good role, and I love how he kind of just pops up here and there.
He pops up in the beginning, and then you don't think anything of it. You're like, that kind of makes sense. Like they're connecting to the universes, just so we have a little bit of a, oh, hey, awesome. Mm-hmm. And we enjoy that. And then he pops up at the end, too.
Yeah.
Which the only thing about him popping up at the end to me that my big takeaway is that Mark Ruffalo made an appearance. Not Smart Hulk.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gone back to being conflicted or if he just chooses what he does now. Or I don't know.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
That was my big takeaway. I was like, it's not Smart Hulk.
Yep.
When does this take place?
But I love how... But I did really love that little...
Because Wong doesn't even look like he's the Supreme Master.
Sorcerer Supreme?
Yeah, Sorcerer... That's good. Supreme Master.
Sounds like a pizza.
I mean, I'm kind of hungry now.
Exactly. No, but I love all the characters they wove through that story, and then you just fall in love with these characters, and how good that story is, and then it really provides some insight around the 10 Rings and all that other stuff that really, when you look at
bringing Ben Kingsley's character back, they hid that well because that wasn't in the trailers.
No,
and like when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, they've referenced it a little bit, and I was like, oh, it's cool. At least they're acknowledging it, and they have a backstory for it. That's cool. And then they introduced him, and he was a full fucking character, and he was just as weird as he was in the other one.
He was just a weird actor, and like you really felt for him. And I was like, and that just goes to show how talented he is, because when he's playing the terrorist on the TV, and all those things, and then, oh yeah,
like his flat voice that he used as the Mandarin. Mm-hmm. It's all fucking weird.
And I love how they had the Mandarin. You know, they talk about the Mandarin, they talk about the Ten Rings, obviously, but a lot of that ties back. If you watch the Iron Man series in the 90s, there's a lot of these things in there that you may recognize or remember. Because I remember they had the Fantastic Four cartoon and the Iron Man cartoon that would be on like Sunday mornings around the same time the Spider-Man animated series is on. So I remember I used to watch those a lot.
I actually I'm just started rewatching I'm going to watch the entire Spider-Man series because it goes through so much cool shit. Like I was looking through some of the later seasons and I was like, I don't remember half of this, but he's like interacting with everybody.
Oh yeah, he has all kinds of guest appearances and all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
the ones I remembered were X-Men and Morbius and like Kraven the Hunter a lot, the Green Goblin, the Hobgoblin, that kind of stuff. Mysterio, even the Scorpion, the Shocker. But I didn't remember like the Punisher and the Fantastic Four and all those other interactions and shit.
Well, and I love where we're at with the Marvel stuff right now, because if you look at the Ten Rings...
Speaking of Spider-Man, that's our number one.
Yeah, obviously. But no, with Shang-Chi, though, when we see Iron Man 3, right, and we realize, like, the Mandarins, obviously this fake terrorist, everyone's like, oh, what are they doing with that? That's not traditional. And look how well they've got us trained to accept the levels of absurdity we've gotten to, right? Because at first they kind of had to play a lot of these fairly straight, so it's somewhat believable, but you can get more fantastical as you go just because you're invested in the characters.
Yeah, it's a crazy that we got from Iron Man at all to Endgame.
Yeah. That's
slowly
insane.
But surely. Like, they literally, I think in Guardians of the Galaxy was probably like, I can imagine Kevin Feige being like, we need to do this to introduce space.
Yeah.
Like real space. More than Thor coming from space. We need to introduce the space travel, like the spaceships, lots of other planets and aliens.
And when you look at the overall MCU, I really feel like Guardians had to be done even had they had the Fantastic Four stuff back then, because the Guardians just kind of go anywhere, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, for sure, because you had a little bit of like Thanos at the end of Avengers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like we're waiting on Doctor Doom to show up in the MCU. Like there's going to be there's some heavy-hitting villains we still just haven't seen yet, just because they were a part of the Fox stuff.
Oh, man, there's so much. Like they cast fucking the guy who played Quicksilver in the MCU as Kraven the Hunter in the Sony verse.
Yeah, and that's
a bad choice.
And that's one of
not because of the actor, which I could give a fuck less. That I think it could be a bad choice, but it might be good. I might be surprised. I don't know.
I don't know. When I look back, I just think of the Fantastic Four where he went from, where obviously he goes from playing Johnny.
This is arguably a connected universe now, though.
I know, but with the multiverse, it's fucking weird what you're going to do. I have no idea, right? Because obviously Michael B. Jordan was also in the Fantastic Four reboot.
Well, so was Chris... what's his face? Was Johnny Storm and Captain America.
Yeah, so two people that have played Johnny Storm have gone to the MCU in other roles, which is kind of crazy.
And the guy who originally played... Glenn Howerton apparently auditioned for Captain America and was like one of the top contenders for it.
Yeah, and now they're looking more for him for Mr. Fantastic.
Which I am all for.
Oh, yeah, him as Reed Richards would be good, because you need somebody
It's a different role for him, too. He doesn't have to be a sarcastic asshole all the time. He can sink his teeth into something different. And...
Yeah. So... obviously, Spider-Man No Way Home, man, that was a heavy hitter. Heavy hitter. And that, so good. I mean, you heard a review about it.
Best movie of the year for me.
Hands down, yeah.
And I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife in the same building as Bill Murray, so that happened. But this is still a better movie.
Yeah, I can't. I love Ghostbusters in a way that I don't love the MCU.
Oh, 100%.
It just can't be explained. And I love Ghostbusters for those reasons. But Spider-Man did the unthinkable. If you would have told me after the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man third movie never got made and everything else is going on with it, and that Sony was going to do this, if you would have told me that they would get to where they are now with that and be able to have all three Spider-Men in a movie after the animated Into the Spider-Verse, I wouldn't believe you, because it was so well done, right? And there's a lot of... there's a fair amount of like throwbacks and references, but it's well done. And like you've said, I really like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man now. And before I just didn't really care, but this actually made me give a fuck about his portrayal and his character as that. So it's one of those things where you made two Spider-Man movies that were, they're Spider-Man movies, but you were able to raise the bar on those movies because I know where this character at least kind of goes in the future.
It makes me actually want to go and watch those ones again and be like, give it another judgment, even though I have watched them both like twice at least. But you know,
the fact that you just got this multiverse and anything can kind of go as you want, but you're still going to have a main storyline, I think really, it's just so fun right now because everything can be fresh. But at the same time, it can be convoluted, so it's going to be a very fine line to walk. Like Shang Chi,
but they've been doing it so well. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing is, after Endgame, it's like, what the fuck are they going to do? Here's 9 examples of what they're going to do that came out this year. Plus the other Spider-Man movie that came out post-Endgame already, too.
Mm-hmm.
They, like, Spider-Man did take place of Iron Man, but by that I mean in the MCU film universe, because the Iron Man movies were pushed out quicker than any other movies. And then Spider-Man did the same.
And the only reason Iron Man started it off was because they were all willing to play in the same sandbox for those characters that were owned, right? That's the same reason why we never seen the original, the Hulk have his own feature.
Yeah, not again.
Yeah, because Universal owns the rights, and I still think they do that.
They still do. That's why he's popping up in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But so is Daredevil, I assume.
Yeah,
he has to
they're
be.
both lawyers, so yeah, it's going to be a thing, right? So I just love how they're starting to bring some of these other characters in, right? Regardless of whether the Netflix stuff is considered canon or not, I just love how they're taking some fan favorites from that and really giving them a second chance because no one out there thinks Kingpin's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, no
well,
one
the only
believes
other
that.
character you want from that, to be honest, is probably the Punisher. At least the big name ones.
Yeah, the
like
Iron...
Luke Cage is what it is. And Jessica Jones, is that what the other one is?
Jessica Jones and the Iron Fist.
Yeah, people hated Iron Fist from what I know. Like, it did not do well. But
that was a tough watch, man. Like, and the only reason I watched that was because I wanted to get everything I could to see the Defenders.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even watch the Defenders and stuff. I haven't watched Daredevil even. So I'm going to now.
Daredevil is fucking phenomenal. I love Daredevil. Jessica Jones, it was okay. Luke Cage is okay. The Punisher stuff's pretty good. But, you know, when they're kind of being real fucking sketchy about whether it was all in the MCU, I didn't even finish all the Punisher stuff.
Right.
So.
Well, it's the same thing with their Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But it's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could just be in another alternate universe at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
where he survived.
They brought Agent Coulson in, yeah, and even if they brought him back for based on what they've done, right? And I've seen a fair amount of that. I never did finish that. That's one of those other ones that I've
watched a couple episodes, but I was just like, they're hinting at stuff that's more interesting than what they're doing all the time. That's my problem with it.
It felt too small scale compared to the movies, and I get that. Now, I do want to see Agent Carter, too, because I would love to see how that played out.
They only get one season, and they're like, nah.
Yeah, but the problem with that, though, is, again, you're trying to make these series for ABC, and now that they're trying to do it for Disney Plus, they've got a better mindset around, like, not everything needs a 15 to 20 episode season. Like, I think, you know, when you're like, we're going to tell a series, it can be limited. We can do another series later on, right? You know?
Yeah.
I think that gives it a lot of ability, but let us know how you rank these. Find us on social media and give us your 2021 Marvel rankings.
Let's go into our review of the week, which I guess I don't even know how to title this one. What segment is this?
That's a good question, Laguada. I don't know if this falls into any of our regular segments, right?
Not really. It's too old to be front row video review, but that's the only one it could be. It's not old enough to be retro release reviews. It's not Other Men's Garbage because people like it more than I do.
Yeah.
And it's not so bad, it's still pretty fucking awful. But I'll tell you what. We're just going to go with...
Front Row Video Reviews with the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Well, the year is 2015. The film is Jurassic World, directed by Colin Trevorrow, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, a bunch of other people.
I like how that's the third person you mentioned just because he's more relevant now.
Well, it's not that he's not always been relevant. I mean, he's had a long fucking career of doing badass shit.
I'm saying in the mainstream perspective,
people know his name probably more now than they ever have.
Yeah, but that's because of shit like Daredevil.
But he also was fucking on like Law and Order for fucking ever. So
fuck Law and Order.
Yeah, but a lot of people know him from that, man. And I know him from that.
Fuck him.
I was too poor to have fucking cable, and I had to use antenna ears like one of my first couple apartments, so I'd see that shit because that was the only thing I'd watch besides DVDs. Or VHS, because I had those too.
The egg intro is pretty interesting with the little raptors.
Yeah.
And then it shows the bird claw in the snow, which I like.
Yeah, that was a good kick. I did like that.
Shows the family. The kid's there with his girlfriend, and she's like, be sure to send me plenty of dick pics.
Basically.
I mean, just regular pictures, totally.
Of you in gray sweatpants. Nothing underneath.
And then she says, I love you, and he's like, yeah, like, totally, I gotta go.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So the kids we find out are Gray and Zach Mitchell.
Wait. I gotta point out, obviously, you mentioned Vincent D'Onofrio and not Judy Greer. I don't know how.
Judy Greer, yeah, she's obviously in the new Halloween movie, so... But she's been in a lot of shit, too.
Let's talk about some shit that she's in real quick, because all of a sudden, the last, 10 years...
She's fucking exploded.
In nothing but sequels and reboots.
Mm-hmm.
Jurassic World. Halloween. Carrie. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. War for the Planet of the Apes. Halloween Kills. Valley Girl. Remake. And also Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Those aren't remakes, but, those are relevant.
Yeah. She's got quite a few on there, too.
So Claire's trying to talk with some sponsors. Well, basically they drop the kids off the airport, and it's implied that we get the hint that they're getting divorced, and it's sad, and the kids are going off to Jurassic World.
Yeah, you see a little bit a little brief airport thing. The other thing that's kind of neat is you see that the boats are actually ferrying everyone over, because in the first one it was implied they were all going to fly in on helicopter, some shit that never really got to the point of how everyone's getting to the island. But here they're just taking the ferry boat across, and that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. And
yeah, but to your point, Claire's giving the tour.
She's trying to get sponsorship for an attraction, basically. And it's here's the Indominus Rex. It's a whole fucked up thing that we shouldn't have done.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see why in a minute. And then they're like, oh, look, it's Henry Wu from Jurassic Park.
And then he gives his whole speech on the Indominus Rex.
The Indominus Rex. Blah, 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 blah.
He's pretty good in here, but he's so fucking cocky at sometimes in this movie. It kind of pisses me off, because it doesn't feel
his
like
character's a little too over the top, yeah. But I agree with his whole thing later on when he's like, you're the one who fucking asked for these monsters, and not to mention, this is the way we've always done it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Go back. How do you think the raptors bred on their own?
I'm doing what you paid me to do. And then motherfucker, what's the owner's name now? The new park owner? He's flying the helicopter, and he's like, yeah.
Masrani? Yeah.
I can fucking fly a helicopter now. I got my license. He's like, 2 days.
Well, let's not forget the whole sequence where he's in the control room, and he's talking about buying, and I forget his, Lowry. Lowry's wearing the original Jurassic Park shirt. He's like, got this one for $150 on eBay.
Yeah.
A mint one goes for $300. So clearly, when they went there to clean up the island and convert the resort and update it, they had some of that original merchandise. So I love he's one of those guys that would do that, because I know people in real life that's the kind of shit we do.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing if that was real. I'd be like, yeah, I want one of those original shirts. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah.
So I related to Lowry there in that moment. I thought he's a good character in there, even though he doesn't have a lot of screen time.
Yeah. He could have definitely been cheesier and not liked as much, but I enjoy him. He's basically like, yeah, you do understand these are actual animals, don't you?
Yeah, Lowry and
stoned
Vivian,
out of his mind right now.
Yeah, Lowry and Vivian are pretty good, kind of sitting there side by side, where they're comic relief without being fucking atrocious.
Yeah, it's not cringy.
Those two are well written. Now, some other characters in here are a little don't make out as well.
Yeah. Then they go to the fucking thing, and Vincent D'Onofrio is basically just like, no, we got to do this raptor thing, bro. And Chris Pratt's like,
mm-hmm.
And that's basically that. And then the guy like falls in because one of the pigs has escaped. And then he falls in because he's a dumbass. And then Chris Pratt saves his bitch ass. And there's the meme scene of the...
Yeah. So this soft reboot style movie here, right? Obviously, Ghostbusters Afterlife is a hot topic recently. So there's some things in here rewatching this with the lens from that I took notes of. And when Masrani's flying Claire in the helicopter, he name drops John Hammond a couple times and he even quotes him, spared no expense.
But at least in that makes sense because he says it so many times throughout the movie. Yeah. In the original, he says it like 7 times.
Yes.
So you can tell it's something that John Hammond is... That's what he says when he's talking about his part.
You know that's his catchphrase, so you know other people hear that, right? So I did like that. That was just a note of like when you're looking at those gotchas and those little moments that are like kind of weaved throughout the movie that I didn't look for before because I was just like, this is a dinosaur movie. It's fun.
Yeah.
That was a blast. And then you see the...
baby dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
There's the ones that they're like able to ride and shit, which I'm like, that's just fucking rude. Don't let the kids ride them. Let them pet them and interact with them, sure, but like if you're letting them ride them, you're just kind of being dicks.
Yeah.
They're fucking baby dinosaurs. I'm like, this is my life. I let fucking people ride me, and then I get thrown out into the jungle later.
Yeah, one scene in this that didn't hold up as well this time was when Owen was trying to escape the raptors and like got in there and saved that kid that fell off the ledge. He's like, you ever wonder why there's a job opening?
Pretty cheesy.
But just like the whole hand thing was like, I get that velociraptors are so iconic for Jurassic Park and for their size and supposed intelligence that it makes sense to want to do that with that, but I felt like a smaller dinosaur would have been better for that scale for the dominance thing because like him saying he's the alpha for a dinosaur it didn't feel as good this time, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Every time I watch this, I'm like, I don't think it's realistic that the velociraptors would do this based on what I've seen from velociraptors in other Jurassic Park movies.
Yes. It's not set up that way. It's not to say that they're not intelligent and all that. They imprint on me, all that shit. You know, Hammond tried to say that too.
Yeah.
I like to be around when they're born.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
And then they show off the Mosasaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, oh, at least we're getting some new interesting dinosaurs that we haven't seen before. I like that they did that, you know. That's what's cool about that. And you're kind of seeing it from like a SeaWorld looking perspective about how people are looking at it.
There's a little foreshadowing they do in this.
Foreskin shadowing?
Yeah, foreskin shadowing. They show you a very brief glimpse of the boys like watching the T-Rex, and in order to feed the T-Rex by the goat this time, which they're still using the goat method, they just throw a flare by the goat. And so you see like the lens flare of the flare off some of the glass and stuff in the enclosure, which I thought was a good callback, but it also kind of foreshadows what's going on later.
Yeah.
So like things like that fit. They're a good nod because there's no just like rehashing of lines and dialogue that doesn't carry the story.
Like or what's an insignificant line that, like, I don't remember what I said yesterday, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let alone 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know why. I got the tools, I got the talent. Anyway, enough criticizing Ghostbusters Afterlife during my Jurassic World review.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at it through that same lens. So
it just makes me want to criticize it more.
It's pertinent, though. Like, yeah.
I still love the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be fair.
So do I. I love this movie, too. And there's things I don't like about it.
There's a lot more... I don't know which one I dislike more because of weird things. Because Afterlife has a lot better new characters.
Mm-hmm.
They rely too much on the old. Jurassic World, everything that's old I'm enjoying, but not as much the new shit.
Yeah.
But like the Mosasaurus and new dinosaurs, I don't have a problem with that.
Well,
I think it's just like Chris Pratt is kind of annoying in this, to be honest. He's not... It's not unwatchable. I still watch it and I can enjoy it and like it. But he's a little just too, like, cool and suave and, like, this weird, like, badassery thing. And it's like, I get it. He was in the Navy. Okay, cool, whatever. What the fuck does that have to do with training fucking raptors?
Yeah. Like, you would think that it would be like someone's, like, been an animal.
If anything, he was in the ocean. He should be training the Mosasaur.
I was like, we should be seeing, like, the guy that's Caesar, like, the dog whisperer on here because he's good at training animals. Like, he would make more sense than Owen.
Or fucking, Joe Exotic.
Exactly. He's got more experience.
God damn it, you bitch!
Fucking, oh my god. Well, that's the fucking Jurassic Park sequel we need, the Joe Exotic version. When these dinosaurs that's got to come after
John Hammond gave me this damn island.
Yeah, he's like, I bought that fucking dinosaur from a goddamn garage sale.
Oh, God.
That bitch Claire.
Yeah, Claire is interesting, but kind of annoying at times, but also very hot. So it's excusable.
Yeah.
I don't know. People probably feel that way about Chris Pratt, but I just want I want to milk that mommy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a whole reason. There's a whole section of Raptor posting dedicated to mommy posting. Let's just put it at that. So, where are we at? So Claire goes to visit Owen, right? And they kind of like have this whole dialogue about how they went out on one date, and you're like, really, you could have left that whole piece out because no one gives a fuck. Obviously, they need to have some sort of tension. Well, the tension could be that they don't fucking know each other, and that he thinks she's a corporate has-been, and he's just a fucking hired gun, right? Whatever that is. Like, they didn't need that whole thing. Like, you showed up to board shorts. Like, I felt like they wrote that whole thing just to throw in like a joke about how he dressed. He's like, we're on a tropical island.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of one of my notes there.
Well, then that's the whole Indominus Rex thing. She brings him over there to check out the place, and then they discover, maybe it escaped. We should just go down in the cage and look. Fucking morons.
Mm-hmm.
And he fucking does this too. So it's like, you can blame everything on him.
Yes.
This was your fault.
Yes.
The dinosaur escaped. You fell for its trick. You dumb bastard.
Yes.
Even though he goes on to blame everyone else throughout the whole movie. Which they actually do make terrible mistakes too. But pretty much everyone working there does. Except maybe the guy in the Jurassic Park shirt and those people.
Yeah,
they're kind of just doing jobs.
Well, clearly there's
anyone in a position of power is making terrible calls.
I was gonna say that's the thing you got to realize. There's plenty of people just work on their fucking job because it's a job and it's on a tropical island with cool shit. And
I mean, if Jurassic World is open, I'd probably apply for a job at that bitch.
Well, why the fuck wouldn't you? That'd be dope.
Because I'd be like thinking, if nothing else, I'm kind of depressed, and a dinosaur might take me out, and that's a fucking way to go.
Yeah.
Did you hear about Alec? What? Oh, he's killed by a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex. What the fuck?
He
really?
jumped in the cage.
Yeah. Hey, one day we were watching the tour, and then the goat thing came up, and it was just Alec naked, chained there. And he had a flare sticking out of his ass. And he was doing a Tommy Lee Jones from Men in Black impression. Eat me! Sorry.
That might be the funniest thing I've heard all day. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. That's great.
Yeah. So the Rex escapes, and then
the guard
eats Eric Edelstein.
Yeah,
Edelstein is his name, the actor.
You gotta, and
he was in Green Room.
They do the fucking stereotypical like, "Hey, it's the fat guard that's slow."
Right.
And then he cries. I like how he cries though, man. Because if like you're so scared, like everyone acts like a man can't cry. Motherfucker, some shit hits the fan. Like that dude knew what was going down. Fuck this. He was upset. I get it. I understand.
Strong men also cry. Big Lebowski jokes.
Owen breaking the fuel line to mask his scent with the gasoline was pretty good. That was well written.
But also, they said that the Rex could see infrared and shit. So I mean, also kind of bullshit.
To some degree,
based on their own rules.
I mean, assuming that the car engine was hot, yeah, you gotta. It's one of those things you have to fill in the gaps intentionally for that.
If it can smell that much too, it can probably smell you and the gas too. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it just didn't want to eat the gas.
I saw it, and I've always thought it made sense. But at this time, I was hyper paying attention to the dialogue and things, so I was instantly thinking of the infrared thing. And I was like, that makes sense.
Infrared. If he was under the engine, it couldn't see you under a hot engine if the engine was still hot or had been running, right? So whatever.
I don't know if it was implied that it was, but
I don't know. It's one of those things, like I had to do in Afterlife, where I have to suspend disbelief and like rationalize it in my fucking head while I watch it, otherwise I get angry.
And I thought it was brake fluid, not gasoline, because I don't think gasoline pumps through little fucking wires that you can just yank out like that.
Yeah, whatever. Either way.
I assume, anyway.
Could be. So then the asset containment unit gets notified.
Yeah, and then Hoskins is all like, fucking, bugging.
He's fucking running around with a fucking chub, man. He
basically is. He's like, yeah. He's talking about the raptor, though. He's like, can I touch it? Can I touch it? Can I rub it? And Delta wants none of his shit. And he's like, and she's a girl. You know, that whole thing.
Then they make the whole big deal about like him working for InGen, and obviously Jurassic World's its own entity, and Maserati owns a bunch of shit. kind of hype that up a little bit.
It's just a little convoluted with that whole engine thing. Like, it just still able. You're still letting these people do this shit. That's my thing too. Like, who let them do this island? Who let them actually put it together this time? After all the shit that's happened, and after dinosaurs already got loose at the end of Jurassic Park 3, which was never explained.
Yeah, they still haven't ever covered some of that. So interesting.
Eye roll. That's no dinosaur. I'd have a word with your people in the lab.
Yeah.
And he's like, what did you do with the dinosaurs? And he's like, I just made the monsters you asked me to. We had this conversation about this earlier, but it's like, I'm totally on Henry Wu's side in this argument because he's correct.
They're all fucking genetically engineered. Every one of them.
Yeah.
You don't have a fucking complete code for any of them. One thing that I did like as a fan of having read the book and then obviously the movie where they show like the jungle cruise or river cruise that they do, they show like people like in the little canoes, you know, going down a river cruise with like stegosaurus and some other dinosaurs swimming. I thought that was cool. It's like you see a car drive along. Just reference to some of that original source material that they never actually materialized before.
Yeah.
For budget reasons. So I appreciate that. Doesn't make the movie for me, but I like those little nods. Obviously, then we find out it rips its own tracking unit out.
Or could you not?
He's right in the most worst spot
Literally,
here.
just bumping his fucking head into the cables. Come on. Sit a foot to your left, please.
Booger likes to fuck up our recordings.
Lay down.
If you're not aware.
Lay down. Lay down. Thank you. He's like, can I go outside? I'll take you. We're almost done here, Booger. We're just talking about some Jurassic World. They're like, basically they decide to bring everyone in. I keep yawning here. The Stranger Things kid from season 3 who works at the video store.
Oh yeah, he's the
guy
gyrosphere operator.
Yeah.
So he lets Zach and Gray go out, and they're the last ones that go out here before they shut it down with the code 19.
And then he's like, we're going to go do some exploring out off-roading because we're fucking stupid.
Yeah, like we see a gate that's been broken down. Let's go that way.
Yeah, I'm going to go get eaten by a fucking dinosaur. They should have been killed. It would have been a better movie.
The one thing in here is like the Jimmy Fallon cameo as the gyrosphere host is kind of like, okay, I get it. NBC Universal, it's all owned by one. Here, we're going to throw that in the movie now. I get it, whatever.
Whatever.
And then the fact that it still is that plays on repeat after the thing's broken down later is pretty funny, I thought.
Yeah.
I like how Masrani...
I like the ankylosauruses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just seeing more of these dinosaurs for the first time in this universe. That was the best part of this movie for me.
So Henry Rue and Masrani get into a fight, and then you find out about the cuttlefish and the tree frogs, basically explaining the genetic anomalies that the cuttlefish can camouflage itself.
We already talked about this scene.
Oh, we did?
Twice.
Oh, and the tree frogs, too?
Well, we didn't talk about those specific things, but that scene already happened twice. We talked about it.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just pointing that.
You're just
finish
flying,
your point.
You're just flying through. But yeah, the tree frogs, they basically explain the shit in the...
That was where he said, that's no dinosaur. I'd have to work with your people in the lab. And he goes and has that conversation with him.
Yeah. Yeah, he has that... Well, I just wanted to touch on that conversation.
Yeah, this is... Again, I told you I got in bed and didn't take many notes, so I am rushing through... That's what I have left, so...
Well, yeah, here. I got plenty. Plenty.
Well, don't take too long now.
All right. It's fucking funny when Claire finally remembers that her nephews are out in that park. She has like that oh shit moment.
She's a moron.
Like, oh, I forgot there's people here I care about. Other than that, she doesn't care if they get eaten.
Yeah.
The little pinball scene.
Tell you what does need some eating, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that ass.
The little, you mentioned the Ankylosaurus and the Indominus Rex. The pinball, like, of them in the gyrosphere is a pretty well done scene. I like that. You know what I also realized, though, was another, like, hey, remember Jurassic Park?
Which one?
Is when they're in the gyrosphere and then Indoraptor smashes it down on them. Like, after they get out of it, it smashes down on them. And they hide to survive inside it. I was like, oh, okay, that's a good one. Because some of those things before I just wasn't paying any attention to, like the first times I've watched it. But this time I was, like, literally looking for frame-by-frame type of recreation.
There's too much of that. They do new stuff.
Yeah.
But this one is not as bad as Afterlife in that
No,
regard.
it's exactly like I've...
Usually the stuff is done a little bit better, but that one is a little too much, but whatever.
And then obviously Claire starts getting feelings for Owen when he's with the brachiosaur that's been attacked, and he realizes it's killing for sport because she sees how compassionate he is with that animal.
And then she wants him to eat her ass on the dying dinosaur's head.
Basically. Hoskins brings in the engine crew, all that nonsense. Obviously, then we get the Jurassic Park 3 reference of Claire just fucking yelling out in the open, and he's like, shut the fuck up. And again, like, it's things you're not noticing unless you're looking for them. I intentionally look for this shit this time. So, and then he says, I was in the Navy, not the Navajo. So, when she's like, can you track the kids by their scent or something? Which is a pretty good question. Like, you dumb bastard. Then we get to the original visitor center. So when dinosaurs ruled the Earth, banners like all beaten apart. The raptor paintings there in the background. One of the things that pissed me off the first time I saw this was the night vision goggles would not have had any fucking battery left in them to do anything. Right, and they all get up. He picks them up, and the lenses kind of flare and move. Like, whatever. Kind of stupid.
Yeah, that is literally a member berry.
Yes.
That being there.
Yeah.
The Jeep, I like the Jeep. Makes sense. It's on the island. The only thing that doesn't make sense is how they got it started. Which, like, I get it. You can fix up a car, but, like, how you going to just fucking charge a battery with nothing?
So that was one of my big complaints before. So today I noticed, or last night when I watched this, I noticed that right outside the visitor center, you see Zach go off, and I think he's going to go try and see if this car will start, because it's like one of those little off-road RTV type things, ATV-style vehicles that's out there that was used by the ACU. Well, I see him grab that battery and go back to the Jeep with it. So that's how they got that to start. But the gas in the fucking Jeep would not have been good after 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they were doing to it, good luck with that.
But yeah, so they drive off in Jeep number 29, and Jeep number 18 is obviously there as well, because we see that when Owen and Claire go back by it. I love seeing all that stuff in there. I love those look backs on those things. In my opinion, it almost would have been cooler to have some of those electric Jeeps sitting around that they could have used. Because, or not the electric Jeeps, but the Ford Explorers, because those were on the track or whatever, and to see a bunch of those sitting in perfect condition somewhere in that old place would have made sense. Yeah. Compared to a gas Jeep that doesn't do that, where we know the other ones are electric vehicles. But they didn't ask me to write the movie, so.
Their loss.
Then fucking Maserati decides he's going to fly this helicopter. Hilarity ensues.
And he dies.
He dies. I love that death is pretty good, though. So they show the aviary, which is bizarre in this because...
I don't understand the aviary. They just put a bunch of dinosaurs in there? How do people see them?
People tour through it.
Then why aren't they just eaten by the dinosaurs already?
They don't really show you that, right? I'm assuming there's some sort of cage or something that separates it, but it doesn't indicate that from anything we see.
No, it doesn't. That's my issue with that.
And then the other thing is, in Jurassic Park 3, right, where you're on Isla Sorna, they show you the same type of thing, right? Which I get, to have your flying dinosaurs, you're going to need something like that. But that was literally in Jurassic Park 3, that was a moment that was in the first Jurassic Park book that was cut out and put in there. Because it was something that was in there, but it just didn't make sense for the continuity of the storytelling for the movie version of the first. So now we've got two aviaries, which kind of makes sense, because if you're going to have flying birds, you need one that's a tourist attraction, one to raise them in, based on what we know. But it just felt a little weird. But I did like how we saw something besides the pterodactyl this time. We saw, what are those little guys called with the angry teeth?
There's a bunch of different things. There's a bunch of different ones that all look like another one, like the one that you know. Like, there's a bunch of things that look like Triceratops that aren't Triceratops.
Is it a Dimorphosaurus or something like that?
I don't.
Yeah,
literally don't know.
I know they have.
There's so many goddamn dinosaurs, and it's fucking insane, dude.
Well, I know the Mattel line has a 2-pack of those that's out and available, which is pretty cool. Claire and Owen look for the kids.
Yada yada.
Yeah. Let me see if I got anything else that's significant, right? Because basically at this point I was just looking for cool shit. So obviously Claire saves Owen because she's able to fucking smack that dinosaur off him with the fucking gun. Everyone reunites. They're all happy. They get in the car to start going to the final act. Right now we're at the final act. How's this shit going to go down? We see the raptors get their headgears in their fucking chatterbait headgear cameras put on so you can see perspective. POV films, if you're into that. The raptors are too. Obviously, that doesn't go down the way you think it's going to be. The cool scene of Owen riding along and his partner riding along on the ATV as he's on the dirt bike flying with the Raptors running is visually neat.
But stupid.
Not good storytelling, unfortunately. Looks really cool, but not good storytelling.
Yeah, like if somebody says, yeah, imagine a guy riding on a dirt bike with some raptors. You're like, that is a pretty cool image.
I imagine that would be way cooler in a video game where
Sounds
I'm
like
trying
Kung
to get away
Fury.
from him. Yeah.
Some crazy, over-the-top, outlandish, on-purpose shit. Like Triceracop.
Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, they get to the Indominus Rex, and guess what? They realize that it's bred with Raptor, too. No shit.
You don't say.
And so then we get that whole thing where the dinosaurs switch teams, even though they're dinosaurs, so they're not really on anyone's team.
Yeah, the dinosaurs pull end of Captain America.
It's a cross, double cross, and a recross. I don't know what you call it, because eventually they go back to the other side. Now, the Lowry and Vivian
Lowry
thing,
seasoning salt?
Yeah, exactly. I love when he goes back in there and he gets up to try to smooch on Vivian, and she's basically like, oh, I'm seeing somebody. And he's like, oh, fuck. Like, he's just totally embarrassed. Like, he's trying to be the hero and try to show off to her because, you know, clearly he's got a rapport from working by her all the time. I did get a little kick out of that. Those two characters in there were good, well-written characters in the background, so...
Yeah, you could have killed off Chris Pratt and had him take his role, and I'd have been more interested.
Yeah,
in it.
it would have been way more interesting having the guy that cares about dinosaurs rather than the guy's like, I'm cool.
I'm a badass. We don't need a fucking John McClane in Jurassic World, by the way.
No, because even and it's precedence to that is like, right? Even the badass in the first Jurassic Park gets his ass kicked because he's fucking cocky.
The thing about the badasses is they're usually pieces of shit in the Jurassic Park movies.
Yes.
The first one is the exception with that because obviously we like that badass. But he's not an over-the-top evil badass. He's very level-headed and just like only badass when he needs to be.
Yeah, he's controlled, but...
And then in Jurassic Park 2, you introduced all the engine motherfuckers who were all assholes. All I want for my service is the right to hunt one of the tyrannosaurs. And all that shit.
Yeah, and everyone forgets in the book Hammond dies and Muldoon lives. They swapped that in the movie, so... Anyway, then we get to the whole big battle scene.
Is that what you're calling it?
Yeah. So Hoskin gives his bullshit out.
Trying to get entangled in the cords? I have to ask you.
Hoskin gives his asinine speech there in Wu's lab, and then the raptor kills him. So, again, it felt like a cheap kill for him. I mean, it felt like he was an interesting character, like villain, human villain, but it didn't really pay off. And then he evacuated Wu. For what purpose, right? Because that wasn't ever explained later on. Like, why would you need Wu out of there? I don't think we're going to see him again in even the next one. So, but they implied it like they needed him to continue doing his genetic research because he goes out of there with a briefcase, assuming full of his backups and hard drives and shit.
Yeah.
Gray, as they're going through the big battle, realizes that they need more teeth. Claire has an epiphany. She needs the T-Rex out, so she has Lowry let the T-Rex doors open. She gets a flare conveniently located inside a first aid kit at the not at the prop shop, but just at one of the gift shops.
Which is stupid as fuck. Here, let's talk about the flare thing. The flare thing makes no fucking sense in this context. They're calling back to a movie that these people haven't seen. These characters.
Basically, what they're implying with this, and it's a lot of implication, it's excessive
You have to imply that Alan Grant basically went home and was like, it's light, movement of light, and basically was like, flares are the thing, flares out the ass, and told everybody, and then Jurassic World stole that knowledge from his book or something somehow, basically, and used it.
Interviewing him from the whole thing, right?
That's too much for me. That is like that's an Afterlife style fucking callback that is unnecessary, like a Twinkie in a glove box.
You have to put too many dots together to make that make sense.
Exactly.
And so that was annoying. Now, when she gets the flare to get at the attention, whatever, that's annoying. But the fact that it's so convenient for her, and they fed that with the flare earlier, right?
Well, yeah, and just having someone wave a flare at a fucking dinosaur. You've done it too much already.
Well, it's already coming because it hears the fucking gate opening, so it's already on its way out when she's there. So then she just got to run from it, and You can't outrun a fucking... I mean, I get it. This T-Rex is like almost 30 years old at this point, right? Because it's implied this is the same T-Rex from the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And Claire can outrun it in heels. Like, there's some things in this...
It's impressive.
Yeah, I know. I'm not talking bad on her.
Why do you think her ass looks so good?
Exactly. Yeah, and then, obviously we get that big battle, and then obviously the huge throwback that's a reference to the end of Jurassic Park with the raptors attacking the Indominus Rex and then teaming up. Like you see, like I think Blue or one of the other raptors is like on the back of the T-Rex, and like they're working together.
Which, again,
feels
is
like a video game concept. Like, I'm playing as the T-Rex, you're playing as the raptor, we got to defeat this guy, and then after this, we're going to go on our own separate journeys.
It's a little cheesy. A little too much.
The ending there, that part annoyed the fuck out of me. Now, the Mosasaur jumping out of the water, the fact that you're right there and you kind of see it like break the barrier a little bit by the edge. Okay, that all makes sense. I love that ending where if there's not some miraculous
Well, then,
thing.
yeah, you don't have the T-Rex just saving the day again. And you have the raptors in there because you're like, look, the T-Rex and the raptors work together, even though at the end of the first movie they were hating each other.
Yeah, it's a little silly. It's a little silly there. Yeah, for sure. But, like, the whole thing with, like, Blue and Owen trying to, like, have this, like, weird respect thing, like, because it comes and recognizes them, and it's like, I'm going to kill you, and they're like, no, we're not going to kill each other. Like, we love each other. And you're like, no.
I'm going to get some of that raptor pussy is what Owen's thinking.
Probably. Sick fuck.
Pretty much.
Anyway, yeah, so you kind of get to the end, and then obviously, then you go back to the mainland or whatever, where you see, like, the Red Cross style stuff set up for everyone to get reunited with their families and get medical care after they've been lifted off the island by boat or whatever. So, overall, I'd say I'd give this a 7 out of 10. I like it a lot. There's moments I love in it, but there's enough things in there that you're just like, what are you doing?
Again, I have two different scales for this stuff. On an enjoyment scale, like personally, I can laugh at and ignore the stuff, so I probably give it a 7 or 8 out of 10 in enjoyment. But at the same time, my critical thinking would probably give it a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I can get that.
So that might equal up in somewhere like a 7. But,
when I kind of tally the two together, right? Because there's going to be moments like this one where I had some things that I didn't notice before. But then there's like the other stuff that just doesn't make any sense besides being like, hey, here's a callback to, hey, remember Jurassic Park? You're like, yes, I remember Jurassic Park. I'm very fond
well,
of it.
actually.
Yes. So, still a blast. Obviously, we reviewed this now is because at the beginning it's basically taking place over Christmas time, which was an interesting choice. And I will say it's one thing, it's like the framing device for it. They're going to go spend Christmas with their aunt because their parents are having some turmoil and all that shit. Okay, whatever.
A lot of people at Jurassic World on Christmas.
Yeah, but a lot of people go to Disney World at Christmas too, but Disney World like dresses the whole fucking park up. So I was like, that was the one other thing I was thinking of. I was like, why didn't they have like anything saying like Merry Christmas?
There should have been a Christmas tree. Imagine like a fucking Christmas tree getting knocked over during a dinosaur battle. Like monstrous, like Times Square size one.
To me that would have made sense. And you're on a kind of a tropical area near the equator. It's going to be warm regardless of the time of year it is. So like that wouldn't have fucking thrown anything off. So just little food for thought items there. And I will say, though, that if you've seen Camp Cretaceous Season 1, some of that is way better than anything in Jurassic World.
That's the thing. I kind of like it. What I've seen, I haven't even watched all of it. God damn, I need to catch up on that shit. But
yeah, I know.
The first season of that was better than this for me.
Well, it's fresh characters, it's fresh perspective, right? It's from a child's point of view, which is always fascinated with dinosaurs. Like, these adults don't seem to give a fuck about dinosaurs, right?
Pretty much.
So, let us know your thoughts on Jurassic World and tell us if you love it, you hate it, if you're excited for the new one. Obviously, we'll be ready for Dominion when it comes out. We're going to get caught up on all the Camp Cretaceous stuff, so expect plenty of Jurassic content from us going into 2022.
Jurassic content. Well, I suppose that's all for today. Check out some of our other shit on YouTube that we've done recently. Pretty cool stuff on there. Got anything else to say?
Nope, I'm good, kids.
Well, goodbye then.
Hi, I'm James.
Oops.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.